Hello, I am Banu Prakash. Welcome to Law & Order channel. The script is continuous, no timestamps, emotionally engaging, and academically grounded. Word length is approximately what is normally spoken in a 30-minute podcast. Nazi cruelty, a dark chapter in human history. Introduction. History is not only a record of human achievements, progress, and triumphs, but also a mirror reflecting humanity's darkest instincts. Among the most horrifying chapters ever written is the era of Nazi rule in Germany between 1933 and 1945. The cruelty unleashed by the Nazi regime was not accidental, nor was it limited to the battlefield. It was systematic, deliberate, ideological, and industrial in scale. The story of Nazi cruelty is not just about Adolf Hitler or the leaders of the Third Reich. It is about ordinary people becoming instruments of terror. Institutions transformed into killing machines, and a society that allowed hatred to override humanity. This podcast explores the roots, methods, and consequences of Nazi cruelty, focusing on the Holocaust, concentration camps, medical experiments, persecution of minorities, and the lasting lessons for the world. Ideological roots of Nazi cruelty did not emerge overnight. It was deeply rooted in ideology. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party promoted the belief in Aryan racial supremacy. According to Nazi ideology, Germans of pure Aryan blood were superior, while Jews, Roma, or Gypsies, Slavs, disabled persons, homosexuals, and others were considered inferior or dangerous. Jews, in particular, were portrayed as enemies of the state. Nazi propaganda accused them of corrupting German society, controlling finances, spreading disease, and weakening the nation. These lies were repeated so often that they became normalized. Dehumanization was the first step toward cruelty. Once people were no longer seen as human, cruelty became acceptable. The Nazis also believed in social Darwinism, the idea that stronger races must eliminate weaker ones to survive. Compassion was portrayed as weakness. Mercy was seen as betrayal. This ideological foundation justified brutality on an unprecedented scale. Rise of Hitler and the machinery of repression. When Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in 1933, he quickly dismantled democratic institutions. Political opponents, communists, social democrats, trade unionists were among the first victims. Many were arrested, tortured, or sent to early concentration camps such as Dachau. The Gestapo, Nazi Germany's secret police, created a climate of fear. Citizens were encouraged to spy on neighbors, co-workers, and even family members. A careless joke or criticism of Hitler could lead to arrest, imprisonment, or death. Cruelty was no longer hidden. It became a tool of governance. Concentration camps, factories of suffering. One of the most brutal expressions of Nazi cruelty was the concentration camp system. These camps were designed to break the human body and spirit. Prisoners were subjected to forced labor under extreme conditions, starvation rations, brutal beatings, inhumane living conditions, arbitrary executions. Guards treated prisoners with absolute contempt. Beatings were often carried out for entertainment or minor infractions. Prisoners were forced to stand for hours in freezing weather. Disease spread rapidly due to overcrowding and lack of hygiene. Camps like Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor, Bergen-Belsen, Buchenwald, and Dachau became symbols of systematic cruelty. Auschwitz alone claimed the lives of more than 1 million people. The Holocaust, industrialized genocide. The Holocaust represents the peak of Nazi cruelty. It was the systematic, state-sponsored murder of approximately 6 million Jews. Initially, Jews were marginalized through discriminatory laws, such as the Nuremberg Laws, which stripped them of citizenship and basic rights. Jewish businesses were boycotted, synagogues burned, and communities terrorized during events like Kristallnacht in 1938. Later, Jews were forced into ghettos, overcrowded urban areas with severe shortages of food, medicine, and sanitation. Conditions were intentionally designed to cause suffering and death. Eventually, the Nazis implemented the final solution, a plan to exterminate all Jews in Europe. Death camps were constructed with gas chambers and crematoria. People were transported in cattle cars, packed so tightly that many died before arrival. Upon arrival, families were separated. The elderly, sick, and children were sent directly to gas chambers. Survivors were forced into slave labor. The cruelty was mechanical. Killing became routine. Gas chambers and psychological terror. Victims were often told they were going to shower. Instead, poisonous gas, usually Zyklon B, was released. Death took minutes, filled with terror, suffocation, and agony. The bodies were burned in crematoria or mass graves. Ashes were discarded like waste. The process was designed to erase both life and identity. Survivors later described the unbearable psychological cruelty. Watching loved ones disappear, hearing screams, living with constant fear of death. Medical experiments and pseudoscience. Perhaps one of the most disturbing aspects of Nazi cruelty was the use of prisoners for medical experiments. Doctors conducted experiments without anesthesia or consent. Victims were treated as test objects, not human beings. Experiments included freezing experiments to test hypothermia, exposure to infectious diseases, forced sterilization, bone, muscle, and nerve removal, twin experiments, especially on children. Many subjects died in agony. Those who survived were often permanently disabled. These acts were justified in the name of science, revealing how knowledge can become monstrous when stripped of ethics. Persecution beyond the Jews. While Jews were the primary targets, Nazi cruelty extended to many other groups. Roma people were murdered in large numbers. Disabled individuals were killed under the T4 euthanasia program. Homosexuals were imprisoned, tortured, and killed. Jehovah's Witnesses were persecuted for refusing loyalty to Hitler. Slavic populations were enslaved or exterminated. Children were not spared. Thousands were killed, experimented on, or left to die of starvation. Women, children, and sexual violence. Women in camps faced gender-specific cruelty. Many were subjected to sexual abuse, forced sterilization, and medical experiments related to reproduction. Pregnant women were often killed immediately. Infants were murdered or left to die. Mothers were forced to watch their children suffer. The trauma inflicted on women and children remains one of the most heartbreaking aspects of Nazi cruelty. Complicity and silence. One of the most uncomfortable truths is that Nazi cruelty was not carried out by a handful of monsters alone. It required the cooperation or silence of many. Railway workers transported victims. Factory owners used slave labor. Doctors signed death certificates. Neighbors looked away. This widespread complicity shows how cruelty can flourish when moral responsibility is abandoned. liberation, and the aftermath. As Allied forces advanced in 1944 and 1945, they liberated concentration camps. What they found shocked the world. Piles of corpses, survivors reduced to skeletons, evidence of mass murder beyond imagination. The Nuremberg trials sought justice by prosecuting Nazi leaders for crimes against humanity. While some accountability was achieved, many perpetrators escaped punishment. Survivors faced lifelong trauma. Many lost entire families. Their suffering did not end with liberation. Lessons from Nazi cruelty. The cruelty of the Nazi regime teaches powerful lessons. Hatred can be normalized. Dehumanization leads to violence. Silence enables oppression. Institutions can become tools of evil. Remembering these atrocities is not about dwelling on the past, but preventing repetition. Holocaust denial and distortion threaten this responsibility. Conclusion. Nazi cruelty stands as a warning carved into human history. It shows how ideology, fear, obedience, and indifference can combine to produce unimaginable suffering. The victims were not numbers. They were human beings with dreams, families, and futures stolen from them. To remember Nazi cruelty is to honor the victims, to confront uncomfortable truths, and to commit ourselves to defending human dignity everywhere. Because when cruelty is ignored, history has a way of repeating itself. Thank you. For more informative videos, like, subscribe, and share this video.